Good evening, guys. My name is Stephen Hillan, and I'm going to be speaking with you guys tonight about the Trans-Theoretical Model, TTM, also known as Stages of Change. That would be a picture of me, just in case any of you guys don't know what I look like, but you're all in class with me, so I'm pretty sure you recognize me. Anyway, I decided to go ahead and talk about this model in our theory class because I feel like it's one that we have all familiarized ourselves with. We've seen it now that we've worked with it in this class, and to me it's probably one of the ones that we use more often than we realize. And so I decided to talk about this one, and I'm not really going to do a overview or give a presentation on the theory. I'm going to give a quick little overview of it and talk about the stages, and I'm going to give an example of how I used this theory in action, and that way I feel like we can learn a little bit more about this theory through example, and it'll get you guys excited about actually using what we learn in this class in the real world, which is what we're all going to do. So continuing on with the rest of this presentation, the Trans-Theoretical Model, Stages of Change, is it focuses on the individual's readiness to make a change, what level they're at, what stage they're at. And so the main focus is the individual and where they're at in terms of making a change, and in this instance a behavior change, which we all know to be the most difficult types of changes to make in terms of changing behavior, whether it's a bad habit or making a lifestyle change. We know that those are very difficult. And with the stages of change, everyone is at a different level. There are varying stages that people start at with this model. And so it's a process, and it's not a quick fix. It's not something that you can just go ahead and change on a whim. There's a process to it, and every person, each individual, starts at a various stage or various level in terms of their readiness to make a change, to make a behavior change. So knowing that this is a process kind of helps you to prepare and to plan for it. And one of the most beneficial aspects for an individual with this theory is when you can go ahead and you can take that plan or that program or intervention that you're coming up with, and you can appropriately match it to that individual's readiness in terms of their readiness to change. And this allows you to appropriately assess what it is you're going to try to develop in terms of an intervention or a program plan with where the person is at in terms of what type of change they want to make and how ready they are to make that change. And one of the biggest things for us as health educators is to realize that we're not trying to make a complete behavior change. Our goal as health educators with this theory is to just progressively move that individual from the stage that they start at onto the next level or the next stage in this theory. So we're not going to try to focus on taking whatever it is they do and completely changing it. We're just going to try to move them up the ladder from one stage to the next. And that's our main focus as health educators when using this theory to plan programs for individuals. So with that, we'll actually move on to the stages. So the first stage is pre-contemplation, and we've all heard about this. Now this stage is where there's no intention to change with the individual. They don't think that there's a problem. They are unaware of any kind of problem. They have no motivation to change, or they're just not interested in changing. So they're not even thinking about it at this point. And we've all seen people at this stage, and we've all seen all these stages before, so this is not going to be anything unfamiliar. So stage 2 is contemplation. A lot of us have contemplated many things before. So this is where the person is thinking about making a behavior change, and it's not what they're not thinking about doing it anytime soon. Usually, a few months down the road, if anything, at the earliest. It's not like they're contemplating making a change within a week or so. But this is where you hear about the decisional balance is a theory that we've read about, and this is where it really comes into play. You're balancing out the pros and cons. You're doing a lot of thinking about everything that's good with making the behavior change and everything that's bad with making the behavior change. So you're looking at the pros and cons, outweighing them, and you're from there you're going to make that decision whether you're going to head and prepare to make it a change, to take action, or to not. So if you get past contemplation, you move on to the third stage, which is preparation. This is where you're ready to make that change, and you've outweighed your pros and cons. You've gotten past that decisional balance, and you've decided that you want to prepare to make a change. And this is where you go ahead and you start to come up with the action steps, the things you're going to do to make this change along the way when you actually implement it. So this is where a lot of your planning comes in, and this is oftentimes difficult, but you have to be realistic with your action steps and how you want to achieve your objectives and ultimately reach your goal or your behavior change. So preparation is key, and once you get past the preparation stage, you'll get to the action stage, and we all know what this is. This is where you take the action. This is where you do. We get out of our comfort zone, and this is where the magic happens. Right here, we're in the action stage. You're doing it. Whatever it is that you've planned in the preparation stage, this is where you're going ahead and you're starting to implement it all right here. And this can be fun, but it can also be the most difficult, and you have to have that willpower, and you have to be disciplined, because there's going to be times where it's probably not fun and you probably don't want to do it, but that's part of the process. And with action, you have to stick with it the best you can, because you're eventually getting up to maintenance, which is once you've made this behavior change, you continually do it. And not everybody will get to a termination stage unless it's someone who goes from smoking to not smoking. Most of the time we just get to maintenance, where we just continuously go about this change of behavior until it becomes a lifestyle change. So those are the stages, and now I'm going to talk about my real life example where I use this theory without really even knowing it until afterwards. I noticed it going through this class that I've actually used this theory in practice before, and I thought that was pretty cool. So that guy, by the way, is totally ready to do a high hang snatch, which is the fastest lift in Olympic lifting. So just a little FYI there. But back on track, I had a friend of mine who decided he wanted to get back to exercising. He was always someone growing up who played sports and was outside being active, and he had a little bit of a lifestyle change as he grew up. And I wouldn't say he was sedentary, but his lifestyle was a lot more relaxed, and he was participating in some leisure activities that were probably leading him down the wrong path in terms of health. So one day we were hanging out, and he told me that he wanted to go ahead and get back into exercising, and he knew that I was in public health and I had some background with this kind of stuff, and he knew that I coached at a gym, so he wanted just to talk to me about it. And so right there I realized that he was past the pre-contemplation stage, and he was already at contemplation, because he was talking with me about it, and he was already contemplating making a change. So right there I knew he started at contemplation. And then about a few weeks later, probably about 3 or 4 weeks later, he decided that he wanted to make the change, and so he himself went from contemplation to preparation. And in preparation is when he came to me, and we sat down and we came up with a program and a plan of what he wanted to ultimately do and the most feasible steps for us to get there. So we came up with a program, one that was, diet and exercise based, and I decided that the best way for him to get through it was to go ahead and do it with him. And what I noticed being there with him, motivating him and everything, I saw that he started to develop his own self-efficacy, being more confident. And in the stages of change, when you're in that maintenance stage, when you reach that maintenance stage, is when you start to develop your own personal self-efficacy, because you've taken action, and now you're just continuously taking that action, and you feel good about it, and you know you can do it, and you know you can achieve it. So as we move through this program that we came up with, and we got to the maintenance stage, about a little over a year now it's been, so we're definitely at the maintenance stage with him, and you can see that he's got his own self-efficacy developed, and he probably won't ever get to a termination stage, because it's just not something that will ever be reached with this type of behavior change. He doesn't want to quit being active and exercising, so he won't reach a termination stage, which is usually where you can say that the person has developed self-efficacy. But for him, he will have developed self-efficacy just by maintenance with this program. So that was just one of the ways that I've used it in action, and it was for the better. And I think that's really exciting for all of us to know that we're going to be using this the rest of our lives, and it's going to make a huge difference with the people that we go ahead and help. So I hope that you can just get excited about it, and that this example got you excited. So enjoy.